I remember those days like they were yesterday, when everything felt just right, you know? My name's Alex, and I was living what I thought was the perfect life in our cozy little apartment in the city. I had a steady job as a graphic designer at a mid-sized firm. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills and gave me time to tinker with my side ideas. Emily and I had been together for about 5 years, met in college where she was studying marketing, and I was buried in art classes. She was the kind of person who lit up a room with her laugh, always quick with a joke or a supportive word. We'd talk late into the night about our futures, and she'd nod along as I dreamed aloud about starting my own design studio someday, something that focused on eco-friendly branding for small businesses. Our routine was comfortable, almost predictable in the best way. Mornings started with coffee in bed, her scrolling through her phone while I sketched ideas on a notepad. Weekends were for lazy brunches or hikes in the nearby parks, where we'd hold hands and plan trips we never quite took. Emily worked at an ad agency, climbing the ladder fast because she was sharp and ambitious. She introduced me to her circle, but I had my own friends too. Daniel was my best buddy from high school, the guy who'd crash on our couch after a night out, always reliable for a beer and honest advice. He worked in tech, fixing computers or something, and he'd listen to my business rants without judgment. Then there was Sarah, my sister, who lived a couple hours away but called every week. She was the family anchor, married with kids, always pushing me to chase my passions. "Alex, you've got talent," she'd say. "Don't let it go to waste." Emily got along great with her. They'd team up to tease me about my messy workspace. At work, I had Miguel, a colleague in the sales department, slick and charismatic, always landing big clients. We weren't super close, but we'd grab lunch sometimes, and he'd joke about how my designs made his pitches easier. Jessica was Emily's best friend, bubbly and full of energy, often joining us for game nights. Ethan, Daniel's roommate, rounded out our group, quiet but funny once you got him going. Life felt stable, like a well-oiled machine. I trusted Emily completely. She was my rock, the one who believed in me when I doubted myself. We'd talk about getting married someday, maybe buying a house with a yard. My dream of the studio was always there, bubbling under the surface. I'd spend evenings researching, drawing up plans, and Emily would peek over my shoulder, smiling. "That sounds amazing, babe," she'd say. It was all so normal, so reassuring. No big dramas, just the everyday grind with someone who had my back. Or so I thought. Our social life was lively but not overwhelming. Friday nights often meant drinks at the local bar with the gang, Daniel cracking jokes, Jessica gossiping about work, Miguel showing off his latest conquest stories. Emily thrived in those settings, her confidence drawing people in. I'd sit back, content, sketching on napkins while they chatted. Back home, it'd be just us, cuddling on the couch watching old movies. I felt lucky, like I'd hit the jackpot in relationships. Work was steady too. My boss appreciated my creativity, hinting at promotions if I stuck around. But deep down, I yearned for more, my own thing, where I could call the shots. Emily encouraged it at first, helping me brainstorm names for the studio. "Green Canvas Designs," she suggested once, and I loved it. We even mocked up a logo together. It bonded us, made me feel like we were a team. Family ties kept me grounded. Sarah's visits were highlights. She'd bring homemade cookies and stories from home. Emily fit right in, playing with the nieces and nephews. "You're good with kids," Sarah would whisper to me, winking. It painted this picture of a future family, something I started to crave. Even small things felt right, the way Emily left notes in my lunch, or how Daniel and I would game online late at night. Miguel's occasional invites to networking events introduced new ideas, sparking my entrepreneurial fire. Jessica's girls' nights gave Emily space, and she'd come back refreshed. Ethan was the wild card, always surprising us with random facts or pranks. Everything hummed along, a symphony of normalcy. I had no inkling that cracks were forming, that the trust I placed in Emily was about to be tested. But looking back, maybe there were tiny signs I ignored, blinded by contentment. It started small. Those little shifts that you brush off at first because who wants to rock the boat, right? Emily began coming home later from work, blaming it on deadlines or team meetings that ran long. I'd nod, understanding because her job was demanding, but something in her tone felt off. Less apologetic, more dismissive. I'd be at the kitchen table, poring over my business plan, and she'd glance at it with a half smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Still at that?" she'd say, pouring herself a glass of wine without offering me one. It stung a bit, but I'd laugh it off, telling myself she was just tired. Daniel noticed it too during one of our hangouts. We were at the bar, and Emily canceled last minute again. "She's been flaky lately," he muttered, but then shrugged it off. I didn't push. Daniel was loyal, always had my back, but inside, doubts crept in. Why was she texting more, hiding her phone screen when I walked by? I'd catch glimpses of messages popping up, from Miguel or others, but she'd lock it quickly. "Work stuff," she'd say, changing the subject to something trivial, like what to make for dinner. Sarah called one evening, and I vented a little. "Emily seems distant," I admitted. She listened, then said, "Talk to her, Alex. Relationships need communication." Wise words, but I hesitated. What if I was overreacting? My dreams were taking more of my time. Maybe she felt neglected. I'd share updates on my studio ideas like partnering with local artists, and she'd respond with, "Sounds risky. What if it flops?" It was subtle, that doubt, chipping away at my confidence. At work, Miguel was acting weirder too. He'd avoid eye contact in meetings or make jokes about dreamers that felt pointed. Once over lunch he said, "Not everyone can be an entrepreneur, man. Stick to what you're good at." I laughed, but it lingered. Jessica, during a double date, mentioned Emily complaining about my hobbies taking over. "She just wants more couple time," Jessica assured, but her eyes darted away. Nights grew tense. Emily and I would argue over small things, bills, chores, and my business talk would spark eye rolls. "Alex, be realistic," she'd snap. It hurt because she used to be my cheerleader. I'd lie awake replaying conversations, wondering if I was pushing too hard. Internal conflict brewed. Part of me wanted to confront, but fear held me back. What if she left? Daniel tried to mediate once, inviting us over, but Emily bailed again, citing a headache. He and Ethan grilled burgers and we talked it out. "Maybe she's stressed," Ethan suggested. Daniel nodded, but his frown said more. I appreciated their support, yet doubts festered. Why was Emily pulling away? Even family felt the ripple. Sarah visited, and Emily was polite but distant, excusing herself early. "Everything okay?" Sarah asked me later. I downplayed it, but her concern mirrored mine. Tension built like a storm cloud, subtle signs accumulating, missed calls, vague explanations. One weekend, I found a receipt for a lunch I didn't know about, with Miguel's name scribbled on it. "Client meeting," Emily said when I asked. Plausible, but my gut twisted. I started paying attention, noticing her perfume lingered differently, her stories inconsistent. Curiosity turned to suspicion, but I avoided confrontation, hoping it'd pass. The internal battle raged. Was I paranoid or was something real? My dreams suffered. I'd stare at blank pages, her words echoing. Yet, I clung to hope, telling myself it was a phase. Little did I know, the truth was simmering just below. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday when I couldn't ignore it anymore. I'd been feeling off all day at work, Miguel smirking across the office like he knew something I didn't. I left early, claiming a migraine, and headed home. Emily's car was in the driveway, odd since she should have been at the office. My heart pounded as I unlocked the door quietly, hearing voices from the bedroom, hers and a man's, laughter, intimate and mocking. "Can you believe he thinks he can start a business?" she said, giggling. "With his doodles? It's pathetic." I froze, blood rushing in my ears. The man replied, "Yeah, babe, he's clueless. Stick with me, I've got real ambition." It was Miguel's voice, unmistakable. Rage and hurt collided inside me. I needed proof, something concrete. Creeping closer, I peeked through the crack. There they were, tangled in our sheets, phones out, scrolling through what looked like my sketches on her device. She'd shared them, my private dreams, for their amusement. Bursting in wasn't my style. I backed away, grabbing my phone to record audio from the hallway. Their words poured out, plans to meet more, how she'd string me along until Miguel's promotion came through. "He trusts me blindly," she laughed. It was betrayal on steroids, not just cheating, but shredding my aspirations. Tears stung, but I held it together, slipping out to the car. That night, I confronted my doubts head-on. At a coffee shop, I hacked into our shared cloud, stupidly easy since she used my birthday as password. Messages flooded in, weeks of flirtations, meetups, and jabs at me. "Alex's studio is a joke," one from Miguel read. "Let's see how long before he crashes." Photos, too, intimate ones that made my stomach churn. Evidence piled up, irrefutable. Daniel was the first I called, voice shaking. "Man, I suspected," he admitted. "Saw them at a bar once but thought it was nothing." His honesty hurt, but at least he hadn't hidden it fully. Sarah was next. She raged on my behalf. "Get out, Alex. You deserve better." Their support fueled me, but the pain was raw, like a gut punch. Back home, Emily acted normal, cooking dinner. I played along, bile rising until bedtime. Then I couldn't sleep, replaying the recordings. The emotional impact hit waves. Betrayal from her, the woman I loved. Mockery from Miguel, a supposed colleague. My dreams felt tainted, worthless. Deciding to seek more proof, I followed her the next day. Sure enough, to a motel with him. Photos snapped from afar sealed it. The pivotal moment came when I listened to a voicemail she'd left him by mistake. "Can't wait to ditch the dreamer." Confirmation shattered me. Shock numbed me initially, then anger surged. How long? Why? Internal conflict peaked. Love versus reality. But evidence didn't lie. I had to face it, plan my next move. The discovery changed everything, stripping away illusions. Trust evaporated, leaving a void. Yet, in that darkness, a spark ignited, determination to prove them wrong. Confrontation day arrived like a storm I couldn't avoid. I waited until evening, evidence printed and ready. Emily came home, humming, oblivious. "Hey, babe," she said, kissing my cheek. I pulled away. "We need to talk." Her face paled as I laid out the photos, messages, recordings on the table. "What is this?" she stammered, but denial crumbled fast. "It's not what it looks like," she tried, but I played the audio, her laughter echoing in our living room. Tears streamed down her face, but mine were dry, fueled by fury. "You mocked my dreams, cheated with Miguel of all people." She sobbed apologies, blaming stress, saying it meant nothing. But words rang hollow. "Miguel, I called him next, conference style." "You backstabbing jerk," I spat. He laughed at first, then went silent when I mentioned reporting to HR for workplace affair ethics violations. "You'll both pay," I warned. The fallout was immediate. Emily packed a bag, screaming about how I was overreacting. "Your stupid dreams ruined us," she yelled, revealing her true colors. I stood firm, changing locks that night. Daniel showed up, helping secure the place. "I should have told you sooner," he confessed. Twist. Turns out Jessica knew too, had covered for them. "She what?" I gasped. Daniel nodded. He'd overheard. Shocking betrayal from friends deepened the wound. Legal steps followed. I consulted a lawyer about shared assets, our lease, joint account. "Separate cleanly," he advised. I froze her access, moved money to safety. Vengeance simmered. I anonymously tipped HR about Miguel's conduct, leading to his suspension. Emily begged for forgiveness via texts, but I blocked her. Sarah flew in, offering a place to crash. "You're strong, Alex," she said, hugging me. Ethan and Daniel rallied, helping pack her stuff. Another twist. Going through drawers, I found letters from Emily's ex, hinting she'd done this before. "Serial cheater," Daniel muttered. It explained her ease with lies. The face-off with Miguel happened at work. HR mediated. He smirked initially, but paled when evidence surfaced. "You're fired," the boss said later. Satisfaction mixed with sorrow. Vengeance tasted bitter. Initial resolution. I filed for separation. Though unmarried, it felt like divorce. Moved to Sarah's temporarily, focusing on healing. Drama peaked with Emily's desperate call. "I was wrong about your dreams." Too late. Confrontation stripped masks, revealing truths. Steps toward freedom began, but scars lingered. Twists shocked, but empowered me. The night ended in solitude, planning my next chapter. Betrayal hurt, but ignited resolve. Recovery wasn't linear. It was messy, full of ups and downs. First weeks at Sarah's were rough, sleepless nights replaying betrayals. But her family grounded me, playing with the kids distracted from pain. "Uncle Alex, draw us something," they'd beg, reigniting my passion. I started sketching again, not for business, but for joy. Daniel visited often, apologizing for his lapse. "We're good," I assured him. Ethan, too, offering quiet support. Jessica, cut ties, no room for enablers. New beginnings emerged slowly. I quit the firm, too many memories of Miguel, and freelanced. Gigs trickled in, building confidence. Green canvas designs I launched officially, website up in months. Clients loved the eco angle, word spread. Vengeance. Not direct, but succeeding felt sweet. Emily messaged once, seeing my success online. "Proud of you." Ignored it. She'd laughed, now I soared. Overcoming took therapy, journaling pains. "Trust yourself first," the counselor said. Resonated deeply. Relationships? Wary, but open. Met Valeria at a networking event, kind, supportive, shared my vision. We dated casually, no rush. She encouraged without mocking, a breath of fresh air. Reflection hit during a solo hike. Same trails Emily and I once walked. I realized betrayal taught resilience. "Don't let doubters define you," I whispered to the wind. Moral, trust is precious, but self-belief trumps all. Her laughter echoed faintly, but my achievements drowned it. Life stabilized anew. Business boomed, hired help, even Daniel part-time. Sarah beamed at family dinners. "You proved her wrong," she said. Indeed. Twists once shattered, now strengthened. Personal growth blossomed. I volunteered, teaching design to kids, paying forward. Shocking moments faded, replaced by gratitude. Relationships mended, forgave Daniel fully, built stronger bonds. Aftermath brought clarity. Vengeance through success, not spite. Overcame by rising above. Lessons learned. Empathy for others' struggles. Curiosity about my potential. Authentic self emerged, unapologetic. In the end, her betrayal was a catalyst. I reflect often. Resilience turns pain to power. Trust wisely, but dream boldly.